A couple months ago, somebody asked how I wash my machines with a pressure washer. So I figured, since now, if you can't tell, the 1445 here is an absolute mess, I'm going to wash the machines, or at least this one, on video. I figure I'd go ahead and tell you exactly how I do it. What I'm going to do, if you can't tell, the 1445 is, it's just an absolute pit right now. It's got mud on it. The mud is from the yard for mowing grass. It is not from winter. If that tells you anything about the amount of rain we've gotten here, it also tells you why I haven't necessarily been doing all the videos that I normally do. We've been dealing with some other issues. So anyway, long story short, I'm going to drop the deck off this thing. That way I can pull that black plastic off the deck, so I can get the deck nice and clean. Then I'm going to basically open up. I'm going to wash the outside of the 1445. And then I'll take all the panels off and lift up all the hatches and everything, open the hood and whatnot, and then wash the rest of the machine. This is by no means a detail wash. I'm mostly just getting all the mud off of it because I think it looks hideous with all the mud being on there. So what I use to wash, this is a pressure washer I actually purchased from a friend. They make pressure washers, or they build pressure washers. They're in the car wash business. So it's a Honda GX390 motor, coupled to let's see if I can get this right here. It's coupled to a 3,500 psi pump at 450 RPM. Now I operate nowhere near 3,500 psi. It does do 4.3 gallons per minute at 3,500 psi. I generally operate at somewhere around 1,500 psi. It does have an unloader valve on it, which is a black handled, and it's also got a soap pickup on it. Like I said, this is all built by them. The cart, I think they sub out to somebody, but they assemble the pump and the valve body and everything like that. So that's the pressure washer I have. Obviously, if you buy one at Lowe's or Home Depot, that's perfectly fine. This is just the pressure washer I have. So, get to pressure washing. After I drop the deck, I'll probably go ahead and clean the deck first. And then after I clean the deck, then I'll wash the tractor. So, I'm going to go ahead and clean the deck off camera because that's a pretty simple process. Going to drop it off and everything, and then I'll do the rest of the tractor on video. Alright, deck's clean. So now we're going to clean the 1445. What I'm going to do is rinse it. I'll spray it down with a cleaner. Use a cleaner of your choice. Doesn't really matter to me. I've found all cleaner I've used. Purple Power, Simple Green, WD-4, or not WD-40, Grease Lightning. I suppose WD-40 wouldn't get it very clean. But anyway, I'm going to do that. I'll probably turn the sound off of this video and speed it up because it's going to take me about 30 minutes. Okay, so that's the first part. Now I'm going to go ahead and take all the panels off and clean that way. Alright, all done cleaning. There, the last part of the video you saw me, I think you saw me take the hood, basically the back hood off the 1445, and that was to clean the radiator. Sorry about the shadows here. I don't really want to crank it up because it's all still wet and everything. But you saw how I washed it. I wasn't necessarily too particular with electronics or anything. Obviously you don't want to take and spray, you know, water in the fuse block here or anything else. But it actually came pretty clean. Cleanest it's been in at least, you know, a year. It's been about a year since I cleaned in here and everything. So you notice I didn't spray the heater. I didn't really spray any of the controls there because I don't necessarily need it. I didn't spray inside of the windshield, whatnot. Taking the side panel off, grass really likes to get in there and also likes to get down in there. Back here, just basically cleaned it out. Everything looks pretty good. There's not much oil buildup on this engine at all, so not necessarily something that you have to do. Got the radiator cleaned out. You can see all of the debris that came out of the radiator. I just did that with a hose. The oil cooler actually ties in. Actually, there's a bolt that goes right here, but I broke that bolt last time I took it off, and I haven't put it back. You just keep walking around. I mean, everything, I've got to grease it now. I got all the mud off the frame and everything. That's the gas tank, so there's not too much to see there. Coming from the other side, I did have quite a bit of grease up and dirt and debris up in there. That brass T that you see down there, that was covered in oil, so cleaned all that up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit here and dry for the next little bit. Probably another 30 minutes or so. I'm just going to let it dry, and then I'll come back and put it all back together. I'm going to go mow a little bit of the yard with the X748. So there's the deck. Deck looks pretty good. So I'm super happy with how the deck came out. Actually, the cleanest the deck's probably been in 2 years, since right after I bought it. So, because I don't remember pressure washing the deck last fall. I think I was a bit busy doing other things. So, yeah, there we go. That's how I pressure wash. Not too particular. You know, you obviously don't want to spray directly into electronics, but for the most part, 1500 psi is okay for most components. You don't want to bend radiator fins or anything like that. So now watch, now that I've said all that, when I go to crank it up the first time, it won't crank and there'll be some water in the electrical connections or something, but that happens. So thanks for watching.